Okay, we're going to get started. Thanks for coming, guys. My name is Brian Beck. I'm the host of the Business Track sessions for Magento. We were at our last Business Track session, and we saved a great one for the end here. It's all about social media and those retailers in the room. I know when I was working with social media, when I was at Harbor Freight, we tried a lot of different things, and some worked and many didn't. So the goal of today's session is to really give you some tools to understand what you can do with social media for your business. We got a great panel here. You guys probably recognize the Angry Bird in the middle, and David from being famous the other day. But anyway, I'm just going to turn it over to Jim Burnett, who's the CEO of Visistat. He'll go through and introduce the panel and can run it from here. Jim?
Great, thank you. So I'm Jim Burnett, CEO of Visistat, and I've heard a lot of hype about this, so I hope we can live up to it. We've been practicing a bunch of annex to live up to the hype. We'll see how it goes. For those of you who don't know about Visistat's a customer intelligence platform really designed to kind of remove the silos of the measurement of all your touch points, including web analytics, marketing analytics, deep social analytics, anonymous lead generation, deep e-commerce analytics, and provide you one complete picture and then make that picture really kind of brain dead simple to help you increase effectiveness. We have some esteemed e-commerce and social media experts here that are going to talk about is social media a moneymaker or bank breaker? And I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
My name is David. I don't work at Massimo.
You can give us a little more information than that.
Okay, my name is David Sinatra. I run e-commerce and some other brand and marketing stuff for Stussy, 33-year-old company from California. You might have heard of it. And I'll be talking about why social media can suck sometimes.
All right. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Niklas Kari. I'm in charge of business development at Rovio Entertainment, which is the creator of Angry Birds. It's great to be here today in this specific panel because at Rovio, social media is something that is really part of our DNA, and I'm happy to share a little bit of our experiences using it.
And so Nicholas and I have interacted probably 3 or 4 or 5, 10 times in the last couple of days, and I have yet to see him wear something that didn't have an Angry Birds emblem on it someplace. I'm pretty sure he has Angry Birds underwear as well. I haven't seen those, but I'm pretty sure he has them.
Sorry we can't show you everything, but we are really passionate, of course, about our brand, so that's why it also shows in what we wear.
Ask him about his tattoos.
Hi, I'm Justin Yoshimura. I'm the founder and CEO of 500 Friends. I've actually been, just very briefly about my background, prior to 500 Friends, I've been in e-commerce for almost a decade. I actually started an e-commerce store that was on Magento when I dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old. So since then, I have been working on this for working in retail, and I started 500 Friends to solve a problem that I personally had as a retailer, which was, how do we actually monetize social, right? CPA from Google are continuing to increase. Social media, obviously, even when I started the company 2 years ago, was much smaller than what it is today, but no one had really figured out how to monetize it. And which is why we launched the platform to use social as a way to focus on increasing customer loyalty and lifetime value.
Fantastic. So, again, our topic is social media, money maker or bank breaker. I'm really excited about this panel myself, honestly. Coming from, as a guy who runs a measurement company, we have a lot of people coming to us saying, I don't know exactly what's driving my traffic. I don't know exactly what's driving revenue. Revenue's down, revenue's up. I don't know why. And what we find is a lot of times people are measuring things in silos. They're measuring social separate from web traffic, separate from what's happening on their e-commerce site or on the e-commerce side. And so what we found is the best way to start to understand the impact of things like social on your business is to look at everything in one complete picture. Remove those silos and look at everything as it affects each other. And so that's what we do as a company. And so I'm really interested to hear the perspectives of these other people who have these same kind of problems and the way they solve those problems. A couple stats that just kind of help support that social media is driving purchasing behavior. Wantlet did a survey, I think it was late last year, and what they found was of those surveyed, 75% of those had been influenced by online recommendations of friends and family. Not earth-shattering. That was probably a similar stat even before social media existed. We always ask our friends and family for help on buying different items. But interestingly, 80% looked for social input when researching a product in comparisons. And by social input, it was looking for social input on these social sites. And I thought that was a pretty interesting stat. Another interesting stat is Zoomerang did a kind of a similar survey, and what they found was 51% of those surveyed said they're more likely to buy from a brand that they follow on Facebook, and 67 of those surveyed said they're more likely to buy from a brand that they're following on Twitter. It's still not conclusive. Is social media a money maker or bank breaker? That's hard to say, believe it or not. Because, okay, yeah, it's showing that it does change behavior, but is it really profitable? And that's still a hard thing to get to the bottom of. So let's get to our questions of our panelists. And we're going to start one for Nicholas. And Nicholas, the question to you is, can you make money from social media, or is it simply an expense?
Thank you. So definitely for us, I think it's pretty clear that we have some great examples how we can actually make a lot of money with social media. So kind of to answer that question properly, I would like to explain a few things about how we promote our products, our brand. Everything starts with our mission, which is to delight our fans. So everything we do, we try to figure out how to make it fun, how to make it surprising, how to create that delightfulness. And we have actually only two ways of making promotions. So the first way is that we do co-promotions with other brands. So here on the slides you can see one example. When our latest game was launched, Angry Birds Space, we teamed up with the Space Needle crew and with Amazon and T-Mobile and created this giant 300-feet slingshot that was attached to the Space Needle and created buzz for the game before it was launched. Then the other way that we promote our brand and products is through social media. So one of the challenges that we have as a company is that we have about 100 million active users for our games per month. But since our games are sold mostly through different app stores, we actually don't know too much about our customers, like directly from the sales channel. And therefore, it's very crucial that we have social networks like Facebook, where we can actually reach our fans. If you take as one case example, then how we actually do these promotions, and these two ways of promoting are actually often interlinked. So in Angry Birds Space launch, we teamed up with several parties. So we had Walmart for getting our merchandise out. We had Samsung, which was promoting their Galaxy tablet, and did a lot of great promotion for us, showing that the Angry Birds Space was available for that tablet. We had National Geographic, which created a book about space, and which was Angry Birds Space themed, educational book. And then, if you go to the next slide, so our main partner was NASA, and we actually launched the game from the International Space Station. So we had the astronaut Don Petit, who was telling about the physics in space, because that's a relevant part of the new game, where the gameplay is based on kind of a zero gravity physics in space. And here's like one example on the slide where they actually launched on their Facebook page, NASA's Facebook page, a picture of the surface of the moon, where you can see some pig faces, and that was one way to create buzz before the game actually was available, and reach also partly like new audience for the game.
So that's an interesting use of social media, right? With 100 million users, and your direct connect rate being an insignificant fraction of those 100 million users, the only way you can get feedback from your customers is through these indirect channels like social media, which actually helps you probably develop those games to match market desires, right?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. I still, we have like, even if we have 19 million fans in our Facebook group, we still have a long way to go because there are so many more like active users of our games. So, but if you look at the results we got from the Angry Birds Space launch, utilizing various social media in getting the message out there. So, if you take next slide. First of all, we broke all the records of any app-based game, or probably also any game. So, like in the first 3 days, we had 10 million downloads for the game itself through various platforms, and that broke the previous record, which was 10 million downloads in 7 days, which was from Angry Birds Rio. And in 1 week we got 20 million downloads, and we have not yet announced. It's been about now 1 month since, or a little bit over 1 month since we made the launch. How many have reached in the first month? But definitely it has grown substantially. Also on the merchandise side, we teamed up with Walmart, and they had our merchandise available in 3,000 outlets here in US, and most of them have sold out at this stage, so that was also very good. And also our own online shop sold out. The videos we created for Angry Birds Space have been very viral, so we have been topping the Ad Age viral video chart constantly, and have received in total 46 million views for those videos.
And what percentage of your advertising is spent on social media versus more traditional advertising?
It's the same amounts we are using in both, so 0. So the only thing we put in is our own like work effort, and trying to get this kind of content that is engaging for our fans.
Right.
So basically of those costs, we only have like cost for the people who are involved in doing these promotions, and if you look at this Angry Birds Space launch, I think that's kind of pretty like interesting results. So we estimated that from the first 3 days, we earned enough that it would cover our current social media spending for several decades.
So I think the answer to the question, can you make money from social media or is it an expense? For you would be yes, we can make money.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, for us, it's actually the way to reach our fan community.
Justin, any thoughts on this question? Can you make money from social media or is it an expense?
Yeah, sure. So do you want to go to the next slide, or do you want me to answer it in this context?
Maybe just a quick, and then we'll go to let David answer, and then go to the next.
Sure. So in terms of making money from social media, I guess obviously I don't know how many of your brands are as established and able to get NASA to put your products on the moon, and so that may be an unfair advantage that these guys have.
You have to think big also. Like on the other hand, we are like relatively small Finnish company, so it's like not trivial for us either to do that with NASA. So.
And they've been working very hard on this for almost a decade, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
they certainly deserve all the successes that they've had. But for the people that really are, you might be a smaller e-commerce retailer, like my last. I know from experience you don't have the resources to actually do something that would generate that much buzz. So can you still make money from social media? And we obviously believe that the answer is yes, and all of our partners so far have been very successful in doing so. And the reason is when you actually view social media not as a way to let's say just spam your fans, right? You have 10,000 fans, and all you do is every day you post some link to I don't know, get a power cable or batteries for 10% off. The people are not there to buy batteries for 10% off. So you really need to create content that's engaging, and also use it as a vehicle to give your customers what you want, and not just use it as a vehicle to push content on them that they're not interested in.
Yeah, that's a good point. David, quick thought on that?
Yes.
Yes. You have
More
a
on
thought,
that-
or
more
yes,
on
you
that
can make
later in
money
my
on social media?
presentation. Yeah, we can make money for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll talk about it later.
Great
The
answer.
labor, the point.
Fantastic.
It's pretty clear. Yeah.
So the next one is social media a direct revenue generator or indirect? And we're going to let Justin lead this question.
Sure. So I'll be focusing on what our partners have been utilizing our platform to accomplish, how they've used our platform to accomplish their social media goals, as well as what they've done on their own to make money from social. So essentially, just a little bit of background on 500 Friends. Our Loyalty Plus platform allows retailers to track and reward their customers for behaviors that they take across their digital properties. And so what that means is they could give them points, badges, whatever for, obviously purchasing, but as well as that, writing reviews, sharing those reviews, tweeting, referring friends, checking in on Foursquare, uploading a video on YouTube, writing a review, anything creative that they could think of. And so if you go to the next slide, we basically view the value of social media as two fronts. So from an indirect perspective, for example, by incentivizing customers to write reviews or share those reviews, for example, our customers are able to increase their conversion rates, right? There's been a lot of studies where the more reviews you have, the more your store is trusted. And also, you're giving your customers the content they need to make educated purchasing decisions. It also helps your search engine optimization. Obviously, the more user-generated content you have, the higher you're going to rank on Google and Yahoo. And so, that's the indirect front. From a direct perspective, getting your customers, identifying, which customers of mine are advocates of ours, right? Who's the most loyal customer, and how can I get them to spread, get them to genuinely recommend our brand to their friends, right? What they purchase, that's why Angry Birds has been so successful. People just can't get enough, and they want to tell their friends about how fun the game is, and that's why they have they spend $0 on marketing, and it's just a blockbuster, right? So that's obviously direct, and the indirect for more traditional commerce guys obviously is the reviews and the UGC.
So just to draw that line between the two, direct is I do something on social media, I can see that person who's influenced by social media come through my cash register and buy something.
Exactly.
And then indirect is I do all this stuff on social media and revenue kind of goes up and I don't really know exactly what in social media I did that drove that revenue.
Well,
is that the line?
It's sort of. The indirect part really is, you don't know what percent, by doubling your reviews, for example, right, or by getting customers to share those reviews with their friends, you don't know how that, if you consider review writing in UGC to be, social media, you don't know how, how much it increased your search engine ranking. So
Right.
It is somewhat hard to quantify, but
Right.
obviously, it helps.
Right. Great. Next slide.
Yeah. So,
Moving right along.
going into an example of an indirect customer, for example, for these guys, an indirect result, again, the SEO, right? I mean, by getting people to write more reviews, sharing those reviews, you could also track, and don't just stop there. Really reward your customers that are doing the things that you want them to do. So, the sentiments, for example, actually, once you write 3 reviews on their site, they actually trigger an email that comes from the owner of the store. They do about $15 million a year selling perfume, and the owner says, hey, we recognize you're an influencer and you're a contributor in our community, and so here's VIP customer service where, you could, if you have any issues, you could email me or contact the manager directly. We want to take care of you and your friends. Right, so that's a way to build loyalty and and establish a communication between your top customers and your most influential customers as well. And in terms of direct, I don't need to repeat what this individual posted, but one of our customers, Indie Customs, that makes custom jeans, they basically they track all of the posts that and sharing and tweeting activity that people are doing through our platform. And this person, a lot of the communication is really genuine. So it might not be something that you would necessarily say on your Facebook. You may not be using swearing words, or I don't know what some people say. Well, what's some things that we've seen rather. But it's a genuine voice of the customer, and so reviews, for example, even if it's something negative, hey, I purchased this, right, and it wasn't necessarily what I wanted, but it's still okay because, like, for example, earlier this is where he mentioned it's a really authentic way to communicate with your customers. You know what products are popular. You know, you are able to manufacture or source products that your customers want. You're able to also identify that through social channels and make sure that you're providing a better customer experience. So this is just an example of what you could do in terms of engaging your customers and actually incentivizing them to make sure that they are actually rewarded for their advocacy, right? We actually compare this to what a small business would do, where obviously if you have an Italian restaurant in the corner of Soho and someone brings a lot of their friends, the owner of the restaurant would give you free dessert or free cocktails, or maybe not cocktails, wine, whatever it is.
Hopefully
right?
cocktails.
Yeah, hopefully cocktails. And obviously, you're being rewarded for your advocacy, which has always, been the case in business. The problem with e-commerce is because there's, less touch points. You're not actually able to shake your customers' hands. You really need to make sure that you're rewarding your customers that are actually saying good things about you on these different mediums.
But what's the biggest bang for the buck? Indirect, direct? Do you need different social strategies for each?
Sure. So it really depends on what your business objectives are. But I definitely think that that it's both. I mean, for example, right? I mean, Angry Birds they've gone to the place where so many people are so passionate that by this viral nature of people recommending the game is already happening. But if you're just starting up, right? I mean, if you're a retailer doing $1 million a year, you're not Stussy, right? You don't have that loyal fan base that's going to be recommending your products across the different networks. You would want to focus more on, okay, how do I establish trust with the customer? So how do I get, if you have no reviews on your product pages, for example, that would probably, your ROI from getting the reviews may be higher than trying to institute a referral campaign, for example, since you don't have that base of customers that would want to be your advocates yet.
Right.
So
Great. So to Nicholas, is social media direct revenue generator or indirect? I think I pretty much know the answer for you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you look at what we post for instance in our Facebook page, it's only a small fraction of the updates that are related to directly driving people to purchase an app or buy our merchandise. So we are really focusing on getting our fans engaged and getting new fans by having like new buzzworthy content there. So we do a lot of like videos. We have cartoons, we have this type of content that is interesting for our fans. Also, one aspect that is very important for us, an indirect aspect, is the learning itself. So we are following closely that what people are writing about us in Twitter, in Facebook, and so on, and trying to understand that what we can learn from that. So that's also one aspect that that we find very important.
What about you, David? Do you think indirect, direct?
It's definitely both. I don't think anybody can argue that it isn't both. One thing that's important to remember when talking to the stoic management of the companies you're working for is that if they don't recognize the indirect value, they're going to basically under budget what you're doing. If they're only looking at Google Analytics, direct referral traffic, and the dollars created there, then they're going to not understand exactly how powerful social media can be for building a brand.
We did this post on Facebook. I didn't see any new sales.
Right. Exactly. So it's the same thing with the Italian corner restaurant. Like if you like Vito or you like Giuseppe, just because you might not, necessarily have seen the advertisement, but just because you like them, you're going to come to their restaurant more often. And that's kind of the way you have to think about social media. It's creating a general rapport with your customers, creating a brand.
Yeah. What's more important to you guys, indirect or direct?
Indirect.
Indirect.
Direct is like very bean counter.
Yeah.
Indirect is how you build a brand that people love.
And do you get pressed to measure?
Yeah, I mean, we measure. I think actually the best stuff we do is indirect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of direct money that comes across, and that's what I hold up when I want more dough to play with.
Yeah.
And I say, like, look, here it is. I made money. Give me more cash.
So you're correlating more interest, more likes, more whatever.
I can show sales
with
spikes
increasing
based on
revenue.
Promotion, yeah. But it's the indirect stuff that the fans appreciate because they don't feel like they're being sold.
Yeah.
And they can
more authentic.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the experience you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the most valuable type of experience you can give people.
Which leads us to our next question.
Oh, geez, my time?
Does content make a difference? Mr. Sinatra?
Yes, thank you. Any questions? No. So Bob Schwartz asked me to do a panel here, and I didn't want to do the social media panel because I thought social media had become kind of a dirty word, especially among me and my friends. There had been so much social media marketing gurus trying to sell us things and tell us how to do our business. I just thought it had become cheesy.
There's a lot of gurus out there.
A lot of gurus. And so I tried to be on the merchandising panel, but then Bob made me come back to the social media panel because I was complaining to
Because
him.
you're a guru.
Well, because I was complaining about how bad social media is sometimes, and how bad companies can be when they're asking you to buy shit. Like they don't care about making a good channel. They don't care about the customer experience. All they care about is
Buy.
My boss is pressuring me.
Coupon. Buy.
I got to get more likes.
Yeah. 10% off. 10% off.
Yeah, which is a great time to go to the next slide. So I came up with my own prompt, and it's called "Why We Don't Want Your Social Media and Hope Your Brand Dies a Slow, Lingering Death." So this is very personal to me, and I guess I'll take you through a little bit of how I view social media, how my team does it, and hopefully scare you guys straight if you're doing bad stuff, or just encourage you if you're doing the right stuff. First, I'll just shout out my own Instagram. David Sinatra up on the right. I wanted to tell you guys like what social media is for me in my own personal life, I guess the more emotional side of it. I don't have a really nice car. I don't have an apartment that can fit a dog, and I don't have a girlfriend. Just saying.
It's a great representation of you.
Yeah, exactly. But I can follow Audi, I can follow Hot Potato, the French Bulldog from Japan, and I can follow Shea Maria, and throughout the day I get this vicarious, slow drip of emotional satisfaction that kind of makes me feel good, you know.
Makes you feel complete, like you actually have those things.
Until I can get the life that I want, right? Which
Keep striving. You're going to get there.
Yeah, which for me kind of frames the talk, which is you guys are, when you're doing social media, especially if you're a brand like Stussy or Angry Birds, you're a part of someone's life. I check my phone if I wake up in the middle of the night. I check Instagram. And it's a very personal relationship you're developing with a customer, and you have to respect that. When you're in your suit, in your office, and your manager is talking about ROI, and he's dropping like 3-letter buzzwords on you all day, you have to realize that the customer doesn't give a shit about that kind of stuff. You are in his living room or her living room. You are a part of their personal lives, and you need to figure out how to relate to them on an emotional level, and a level that gives them sort of an emotional satisfaction, that slow drip that I talked about with, you know, Hot Potato or Shea Maria or whatever, you know. That's the level that we aspire to at Stussy, and it's also the level of respect that we have for the people who like our page, which is why we fight a lot about what gets put up.
But interestingly, that's easier. It's easier said than done, right? I mean, how do you know your content sucks? I mean,
I have to address this slide. You switched to a very exciting slide.
Okay.
This is
You're on a roll?
Yeah, we're on a roll here. Let's just keep going. So Strip for Likes is something that happened. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing that our Amsterdam store did, our Stussy store in Amsterdam. They always thought that people were so desperate for likes on social media that why not just completely play it up into a joke. So you can see the girl on the left, she's a girl from Amsterdam they found through their Facebook page, is wearing every single piece from the spring Stussy collection, like hundreds of pieces of clothing. And the more the page got liked, the more pieces she would take off until you get to the subsequent page on the right-hand side, which is her. That's as bare as we got, guys. Email me for the other photos. Anyway, so we started this because they launched a new Facebook page for the Amsterdam store, and it only had 300 likes. By the end, I mean, I looked this morning, it had 21,000. And so we had quite like a backlash from the nerd social media community. We got on Huffington Post, we got on Mashable, they did a video on us. Adweek did a really cool article called Social Media Prudes Outcry Against Stussy Strip for Like campaign. So, you know, for me, this isn't the bread and butter of our social media. This is just something fun we did. But it's very cognizant of the way people feel about social media right now. You know, give me likes. I'll take off my clothes. I don't care. Give me likes. And so for our core demographic, they understand the humor of it, and they also appreciate the girl. For social media marketers, they thought it was a crass, crude attempt at.
But interestingly, you say it's not the bread and butter of your social media marketing, but in fact,
I can't do this every day.
Well, you can't do this every day.
No,
but
it gets cheesy.
But this is very relevant to the brand, being edgy. So that actually is your bread and butter. Is this kind of edgy persona?
Yeah. It's a one-time use type thing, though.
Yeah.
can't keep
But you
coming
guys
back to
do.
her.
You guys have other edgy things as well.
Yeah, we have another one at the end of the presentation. I'll show you another thing we did that is a little more wholesome, and it's another great campaign we did.
Yeah, I don't know if strip for Angry Birds would have worked as well.
Might have been. There's a lot of Angry Bird fanatics out there.
I guess, as I said in the beginning, we don't go quite so far as some people would like us to go.
Yes.
Showing our merchandise, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, he's not wearing any clothes to begin with. So there's nothing more to show.
I think there's very little that the power of the female body can't bring to your social media strategy. I mean, she could probably do good for you. Anyway, I'm going to rush through this because they only gave me a couple minutes. The basic tenets is to know, so know thy enemy is like know what is bad social media, and it basically is, for me, social media that's selfish and self-centered from the company's perspective. Customers can realize that when you only care about your own internal goals, and that's why you're talking to them, like Justin said, you're basically trying to spend your fans to get money, and people do not respond well to that, and you will not, your fans will leave you, and you die a slow lingering death. I mentioned it earlier, it's a permission-based relationship, and I think you have to understand that you're being invited into their living room, into their personal life. So when you're creating content, you have to be respectful. Okay, the strip for likes thing might have been less than respectful, but respectful of what they like, what they want to see, and don't waste their time. That's the biggest thing that I always worry about when I'm talking to my guys that are posting, which is, would you actually recommend this? Would you lose credibility by recommending this? Is this a product you like? You know, and are you wasting people's time? Do they want to see it? And that's what I mean by permission-based. Finally, understanding why they love you, which is kind of figuring out how they want you to be in their lives. I want Hot Potato to be the cute dog. I want Shea Maria to send, cute pictures, and I want Audie to post pictures of like W12s on amazing roads that I can look at. But I don't need, Audie to post pictures of dogs, and I don't need Shea Maria to show me her car. So I think you as a brand have to understand how these people want you to live and participate as a part of their stream and as a part of their lives, which means you have to understand what type of content they want from you.
And how do you figure that out? What's the feedback circle when you figure out whether your content sucks or is actually palatable to
Comments and likes. It's super easy. It's built in. You can see how people respond, and then you have to be very attentive to what they do respond to. You have to almost obsess over why did they like it? What is it about this content? What does this say about why they like me? And so it's kind of like a trial and error science project.
And is that what you do, kind of over some period of time, over a month, kind of look back and say, hey, which days did we get the most likes, and what did we post that day, what were we saying that day?
I review content, I make my little theories, about what people like, and
Yeah.
it actually, as a fashion company, it helps us see trends. It helps us understand. I mean, if we put anything camo on our Facebook right now, it goes ballistic.
Anything what?
Camo. This is the
Oh,
season
camo.
of camo in my niche, in my men's streetwear niche. So it actually is really good trend feedback. It's really good product feedback for us as well. So you figure out how they want you to be, and then you align that, with commerce. You have to also push the relationship towards something that's profitable and enjoyable. So you need the profitability side, which for me, you can blend a beautiful photo with a sweatshirt. You can make sure you give them a themed pack of goods and a mixture of content and art and music as well. This is something fun that we did. I wanted to show you guys. It is, if you go on your phones right now, I don't mind if you use your phones or iPads, to tag.stussy.com. We haven't launched it yet, but you've probably seen something similar at Magento. Next week, we're going to launch it with a series of weekly photo contests, and it is a page on our site that pulls all photos tagged Stussy from Instagram and Twitter and puts them into this nicely laid out, like masonry layout on our page. And it's a really good way to see our social world, to see how people are enjoying the brand, to see what kind of stuff we've been doing. My employees and my friends, we love it. We just check it out all the time to see what people are doing. And you find a cute baby, you find a cool way to put the outfit together. I love it.
It's like Stussy's own little Pinterest.
Basically, yeah. It's kind of a snapshot across several networks of what's going on in our world.
Yeah.
So it's really good research for me to see how people are actually wearing it. You see if they're digging that hat or not. Certain products will get absolutely no love, and other products will just keep popping up, so I can tell what people like. Lastly, this is, just if you hated me for doing strip for likes, you'll love me for how much money we gave to the Japanese tsunami relief. This is a social media project we did over a year ago called One World, One Heart, where as soon as the tsunami hit, Stussy being very popular in Japan for many years, we have many stores there and a lot of friends there, and a lot of actually street fashion culture has now come from Japan. So as soon as it hit, we wanted to do something we reached out to friends around the world to put up pictures of themselves, fans put up pictures of themselves wearing this tee, and we ended up selling so many that we gave several $100,000 to the Red Cross efforts there. So that's like a nice social media success story, and any of the women that were offended by strip for likes can forgive me.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
As we're kind of getting out of time,
Yeah.
we want to save some time for Q&A. But before we get to Q&A, any kind of last advice before we get to Q&A on social media?
Sure. So one more thing actually is he really said something.
He being David.
Yes.
Thank you.
You guys have met, right?
That made a lot of sense, which was, if you are running the social media or your director of marketing and, your CMO is asking, it's time for budget allocation and you need more budget, obviously, because it's working, but, how do I really prove the ROI to the company? And one thing that's really interesting is if you could measure, right, how much do our fans spend, for example? Do our fans spend, are they more loyal than the average customer that doesn't like us? So you could actually sell, to your CMO as, look, this is actually how we communicate with our most loyal customers. So look, these 100,000 fans are driving as much revenue as 250,000 customers that we just acquired from Google AdWords PPC. So therefore, you want to invest the dollars onto the fan page to make sure that we retain their loyalty. And you could actually, you could use various tools to track that and tie that back to your CRM. And by doing so, that is a really effective way in which, you could really justify your existence. In addition to all the referral, the reviews, and the other things going on as well.
Nicholas, any final advice before we go to Q&A?
Yeah, sure. So as Justin previously have pointed out, so not every company in this room will have the same type of following as we do at the moment. So still, I think that many of the lessons still apply, and actually you can do social media in like quite a simple way, by integrating into your marketing process, into your PR process, also the social media channels, and by following. For instance, once a week, 1 hour, checking through what people are writing about you, you can get amazing insights about your services and product. Right. And maybe second advice would be to balance your content. So don't treat social media as just a sales promotion channel, but think about how you can bring some extra value to the people that are interested in your brand and your product.
David?
The main theme, I guess, is this relationship metaphor that I spun earlier, which is that your social media is a relationship with your customer, and your brand is a result of those actions that you have in that relationship and how the customers get to know you. So please, whenever you're posting, think about the other party and think about how they will receive the content and whether they'll appreciate it or not, and then realize the more work you put into that relationship, the more you'll get out of it. And if you don't put the effort in, it'll be die a slow, lingering death. I'll be holding Q&A at the craps table all day. Thank you.